Picture a world governed by sorcery, and standing at the top of the food chain are 13 prestigious archdemons governing the realm. But when the oldest of the 13 suddenly pass, their belongings are sold off, and a new archdemon needs to be crowned. Interestingly enough, one of the goods ends up being a gorgeous elf slave. But the question is, what secrets is this cursed elf hiding? Starting our story, we see Chasteel Lilkvist being attacked by her knight Myers. But having ripped off Myers' face, Chasteel realizes the face stealer sorcerer has robbed Myers' body, trembling in fear as she hears the face stealer teasing and taunting her. As the face stealer prepares to torture Chasteel, our MC Zagan appears, holding up the face stealer by the skull. Zagan is pissed he was awoken by all the commotion, crushing the face stealer's skull before they can plead for forgiveness. With some blood being splattered onto Chasteel, she suddenly faints, scaring Zagan as he wonders how he can rectify things. Coming up with an idea, Zagan casts a rewind spell, undoing all the mental scarring done to Chasteel along with the face stealer, hoping that the girl will think she was dreaming all along. Inspecting Chasteel's silver cross pendant, Zagan realizes she belongs to the church and is an enemy of all sorcerers, but seeing as he's saved an enemy, Zagan reasons he should leave the girl out on the road somewhere to get her out of his sights. Preparing a translocation spell, Zagan suddenly notices his magic being interfered with, turning only to greet Barbados, who has entered his land just to taunt him. Barbados notices Zagan had saved someone from the face stealer sorcerer, reminding Zagan that sorcerers only care about themselves and obtaining power, but surprisingly Chasteel does have a decent amount of mana stored in her. Before Barbados can sacrifice her to gain more power, Zagan swiftly sends her away, choosing to head back to bed to catch up on sleep. Barbados wonders why Zagan doesn't just wake himself up with some magic, seeing as body manipulation is fundamental in sorcery, even granting sorcerers a limit of 1,000 years to live. Seeing Zagan not paying attention, Barbados utters that Archdemon Marcosius has passed, something monumental as the title of Archdemon grants a sorcerer immense amounts of mana. On top of that, Archdemons are regarded as the pinnacle of sorcery, able to command lower-tier sorcerers. Of the 13 Archdemons, Marcosius had lived for a millennium, but due to his passing, Barbados mentions that there will be a huge auction in Keanoides, Marcosius' territory, and most importantly, the title of Archdemon will be on sale. As the duo head through town, Zagan realizes Barbados wants to borrow money to buy the Archdemon title, even offering Zagan some hot ladies in exchange for his help, but Zagan could care less about girls. At that moment, Zagan notices the town's knights rallying together. Something Barbados points out is due to a lunatic sorcerer kidnapping young women for their experiments. But Zagan knows eventually the church will intervene. Zagan suspects that the lunatic may be trying to summon a demon, but brushing that aside for now, the duo head deep underground. Barbados says summoning magic takes multiple people, something Zagan can't pull off since he's always alone. Entering the auction, the pair take their seats, making note of Chimeris the Black Blade, Grimory the Enchantress, Veil for the Apparition, all people worthy of inheriting the Archdemon title along with Barbados himself, of course. Zagan learns that it's ultimately up to the other 12 Archdemons to debate who inherits the title next. But at the same time, we see Chimeris and Grimory chatting about Barbados, the Purgatory, and Zagan, intrigued to see Zagan was another Archdemon candidate to be elected even though he has no title. As the auction reaches its climax, the announcer draws everyone's attention to the next item they're selling, revealing an elf from the Northern Holy Lands. With a single glance, Zagan is captivated by the elf's beauty, noting the elf's platinum hair along with her abundant mana pool. With the bid opening, Zagan immediately offers up 1 million gold curiotes, shocking everyone. But Zagan says a strange feeling in his chest had commanded him to buy the elf slave. Heading onto the stage to collect the elf, Zagan hesitates to remove her collar, seeing as it restricts the slave from running away along with suppressing their mana. But the announcers reveal that they too don't know how to remove the elf's collar. Zagan hears that the elf has been preserved in place, excited to hear the elf speak, but this weirds everyone out. That night, Zagan takes the elf home, panicking as he doesn't know how to speak to her. Racking his brain on how to break the ice, Zagan suddenly hears the elf girl asking how she will be killed. But Zagan wonders where the elf may have come up with something so gruesome. Zagan rushes to reassure the elf that she won't be killed, but the elf wonders what torture she'll be placed through. With some silence following the room, the elf introduces herself as Nephilia, a name Zagan finds beautiful, especially since it can be shortened to Nephi, an even cuter name. Zagan wonders where Nephi's family are, but Nephi utters that she is a cursed child and still a virgin, something Zagan didn't need to know. When Nephi asks why she was purchased, Zagan conceals the fact that he is in love with her, instead calming his nerves as he gives Nephi a room to stay in. Hearing Nephi still believes that she will be tortured and slain, Zagan sympathizes with Nephi's upbringing, suspecting that she was taken away and chained up at a young age and was told she would be experimented on and disposed of. Zagan does wonder why Nephi refuses to elaborate on her cursed child title. But reflecting on his own life, Zagan never knew his parents and was raised without a home as well. Zagan utters that he needs Nephi, something that touches her heart as Zagan orders Nephi to live for him. Showing Nephi to her room, Zagan hears that Nephi doesn't mind heights, both heading up some stairs only for Nephi to trip. Reacting quickly, Zagan catches and helps Nephi up a spiral staircase, flustered as he's holding onto Nephi's soft and warm hands. Reaching an empty room, Zagan shows Nephi the space, but upon seeing the room filled with hundreds of skulls and a guillotine, Zagan swiftly changes his mind. Wanting to make things up to Nephi, Zagan casts a quick spell to eradicate the things in the terrifying room, both entering the room only to note its dreary atmosphere. Seeing the room leading to a balcony, Nephi is speechless as she reaches out to the moon, something that confuses Zagan. Nephi thanks Zagan for a place to stay, something that warms Zagan's heart as it's been a while since he's been thanked, both staring off into the night sky as they've grown closer as master and servant. The next morning, Zagan is shown to have stayed up all night, watching over Nephi as she slept beside his throne. Feeling hungry, Zagan heads off to prepare some breakfast, all whilst Nephi wakes up, but seeing Zagan return with a drink, Nephi remembers to greet Zagan as her master. With Zagan not used to morning greetings, they both sit down for some jerky and milk, but Nephi is surprised Zagan is eating the same thing as herself, grateful to be considered an equal by Zagan. Zagan accidentally confuses Nephi's gratefulness for her judging the breakfast she's been served, revealing that he's eaten jerky for breakfast ever since he was young and homeless. But Nephi speaks up, offering to cook something for them. Ecstatic, Zagan and Nephi suit up, both choosing to head into town for some groceries. But needing a ride into town, Zagan is reminded that he used up all his money to purchase Nephi and can't pay the carriage driver 3 bronze pieces. Choosing to walk to town, Zagan wonders if he can sell items in his castle to earn more cash, wondering if he should have mugged the carriage driver, but holds back fearing the Nephi would judge him. As Zagan suppresses any naughty thoughts he has of Nephi, our duo suddenly turn to see the carriage driver along with its passengers being mugged by some bandits, but Zagan hesitates to intervene. Seeing Nephi traumatized by the attack, Zagan fires off a warning shot to the bandits. But when the boss of the bandits rushes Zagan with their axe, Zagan surprises everyone when he catches the axe, shattering it only to flick away the boss. Seeing Zagan as a formidable opponent, the bandits call for their backup, all watching as a hired mage appears. The mage is impressed to see a fellow sorcerer helping others, but getting to work, the mage swiftly consumes the battlefield with a fire spell. Spotting the mage trying to sneakily cast another spell with a magic circle, Zagan counters by dispelling the fire first. But when the mage attempts to activate his magic circle, Zagan reveals that he has taken control of the magic circle, using it to fire a lightning bolt at the mage. Turning to the bandits, Zagan scares off the men, turning to reassure Nephi that everything is fine now. But Nephi is clearly speechless. Nephi is amazed at Zagan's skills, something that prompts the carriage driver along with its other passengers to ask Zagan to help protect them whilst they ride into town, offering up a bag of silver. Zagan is surprised at how well he's being treated, seeing as sorcerers are normally the bad guys, but seeing Nephi being treated so well, Zagan agrees to protect the carriage. As the duo ride on the back of the carriage, Nephi asks why Zagan would help others. But knowing he only wanted to show off to Nephi, Zagan instead utters that he had to dominate some bandit scum. Having made it to town, Zagan asks if Nephi wants anything, but seeing as Nephi is okay with using anything lying around in the castle, they set their sights on some groceries. Entering a clothing store, Manuela reluctantly greets Zagan, seeing as he's a sorcerer, but seeing as Nephi is in need of a fit, Manuela sparks up. Manuela does make note of Nephi's collar, but as Manuela drags Nephi off to get changed, she gleefully reveals a kinky outfit that makes Zagan blush. Zagan demands that Manuela give Nephi a more normal outfit, watching as the girls re-enter the changing room only to unveil a nicely suited maid outfit. Manuela says the boots have healing magic applied to them to help with exhaustion, but fearing that Manuela may give her another revealing dress, Nephi graciously accepts the maid outfit. As the duo leaves, Manuela pulls Nephi aside, whispering that Zagan really does care for her, but having visited a blacksmith, Zagan asks if Nephi's collar can be removed. Nephi is surprised at the sudden request, but Zagan reasons that the collar shows that Nephi is still Archdemon Marcosius's property, something that flusters Nephi. Taking a look at the collar, the blacksmith recognizes the collar to be ensorcelled, meaning it is trapped, and if not removed properly will take Nephi's head off. Seeing as the blacksmith isn't qualified, Zagan hears that he needs a key to unlock the collar, an item most likely still in Marcosius's manor. Thanking the blacksmith for the advice, Zagan goes to pay for the intel, but the blacksmith refuses the money, reminding Zagan that he had saved him in the past. The blacksmith utters that Zagan had protected him and his daughter from a monster once, but Zagan reasons that he must have saved the blacksmith by accident. With Zagan heading off, he is weirded out by how nice people are to him, all whilst the blacksmith thinks about how warm and approachable Zagan seems lately. Spending the rest of the day shopping for groceries, but seeing as the sun is setting, Zagan treats Nephi to some homely tavern food. Nephi reminds Zagan that she can simply run away if her collar were to be removed, but even though Zagan knows it's a possibility, he still wants to rid Nephi of the collar. Seeing Nephi staring at her food, Zagan asks what's on her mind, hearing that Nephi has never been given such luxurious food before, seeing as she was a slave from a very young age. Zagan suspects that Nephi and himself are the same, having both been born with nothing, but as Nephi reaches for a tomato with her fork, she embarrassingly fails to pick it up. Using a spoon instead, Nephi indulges in the tomato's taste, which brings a smile to Zagan's face. Funnily enough, Zagan fails to pick up a tomato with his fork as well, prompting Nephi to personally feed Zagan a tomato, both quivering quietly. Nephi takes the chance to ask if she can do things that will benefit Zagan moving forward. But as Zagan accepts Nephi's proposal, Zagan repays the favor by feeding Nephi a tomato. Upon hearing other customers giggling at the lovebirds, they both hurriedly rush home. But the next day, we follow Chastile, who is revealed to be a knight. Chastile knows that her dream of her being attacked by a sorcerer only to be saved by another was real, revealing that she was on a mission to save some kidnapped women from some evil sorcerers, but was suddenly attacked by one of her angelic knights who was actually a face stealer in disguise. Luckily, Chastile was saved by Zagan, but she wonders why Zagan looked so lonely. Out of nowhere, Lord Clavel checks in on Chastile, reminding Chastile to drop the formalities, seeing as she is the chosen hero. Chastile apologizes for losing 4 angelic knights in her previous mission, but Clavel reassures Chastile that it's fine, instead revealing that their investigations have led them to believe that Zagan himself must be behind the kidnappings of several girls. Although Chastile refuses to believe Zagan is that type of sorcerer, Clavel reiterates that sorcerers are pure evil, prompting Chastile, the leader of the Angelic Knights, to volunteer her sacred sword to be the one to spearhead the next mission.